Imagine a small country being invaded by a neighbor 3 times stronger in terms of army, tanks, artillery, and economy. A war that seemed impossible to win, yet Ukraine achieved the unthinkable. While the world expected conventional warfare, Ukraine unexpectedly turned to a weapon few had anticipated: FPV drones. These small drones not only countered Russia's overwhelming force, but also stunned the world with Ukraine's power and creativity in this life-and-death struggle. FPV drones' incredible impact. On June 18, 2024, Ukraine destroyed more than 100 Russian vehicles, while losing about 30 of its own, setting a new record for Russian vehicles destroyed. Ukraine did this without spending much on artillery shells or Javelin missiles. FPV drones were primarily used to destroy Russian tanks, with cameras on the drones feeding live video to the operator's device. While Ukraine typically uses goggles or headsets, the drones can also be controlled by a tablet or smartphone. Darwin, a top Ukrainian drone pilot, described the feeling as a bird blowing itself up during the mission. These FPV drones, which cost between $500 and $2,000, were used on June 18th to destroy millions of dollars worth of Russian vehicles, including tanks. These drones have given Ukraine a huge advantage, helping its military deal with a richer and more powerful neighbor, leveling the playing field when Russia invaded. Ukrainian FPV drone investment and production. Ukraine has heavily invested in drones, producing 100,000 per month, double the initial goal of 5,000, and is on track to meet its 1 million target by the year's end. FPV drones play a critical role in surveillance, tracking Russian troops, and guiding artillery, but their primary use is as weapons. Ukraine has equipped drones with explosives, including small anti-personnel charges and large shells. They also 3D print fins for Soviet anti-tank grenades, which drones drop on or crash into enemy armored vehicles. FPV drones have proven vital in combat, with larger drones now carrying bigger explosives. Ukrainian pilots, skilled in targeting weak spots, call the largest drone shells Avada Kedavra rounds due to their effectiveness against tanks. These pilots have honed their skills to strike vulnerable targets, such as a vehicle's driver or engine, and can even guide drones into small spaces like pipelines or apartments where Russian forces hide. Ukraine's drone tactics have advanced rapidly, with the military using kamikaze drones against Russian vehicles and later targeting concealed command posts. Ukrainian drone pilots can now hunt down small groups or individual soldiers with sniper-like precision. Oleksandr Kamyshin, Ukraine's Minister of Strategic Industries, considers FPV drones a central weapon in their arsenal. Drones like the Vampire are also used to drop explosives, lay landmines, and transport supplies. Russian forces, who call the Vampire drone Baba Yaga, initially underestimated drone warfare, but began increasing production in 2023, reaching 300 per month by December, 6 times more than Ukraine's output. However, by January 2024, Ukrainian FPV drone activity surged again, and Russian activity declined, possibly due to the inefficiencies of Soviet-style coordinated production. Ukraine operates at least 15 different long-range and tactical drones, compared to Russia's reliance on a single factory producing the Iranian Shahid drone. Ukraine's decentralized approach has involved large civilian contributions, including handcrafted drones and donations, fueling the war effort. The country has even launched a global crowdfunding campaign to support its drone initiatives. Despite the surge in production, Kamyshin humorously noted that there are still never enough drones. FPV drone economics and strategy. Drones capable of destroying multi-million-dollar tanks for just a few $1,000s have made anti-drone defenses essential, an area where Russia lags behind. Ukraine has been a leader in drone warfare. Before he was fired in February, General Valery Zaluzhny had stressed the need for more electronic warfare equipment. In October, Ukraine's Minister of Digital Transformation Mikhail Fedorov ordered anti-drone jammers installed at every troop gathering point. Drone instructor Anton Vaklenko said both Ukrainian and Russian generals were late to adopt FPV drones and jammers, but Ukraine is catching up. Ukraine has recently received aid, including handheld jammers like Lithuania's Skywiper and advanced systems like Poland's Sky Control, which have helped take down many Russian FPV drones. Despite Russia's overwhelming drone numbers, Ukraine's jammers have prevented them from gaining an advantage. Russia has struggled to jam Ukrainian drones, with many of its jammers being ineffective. A prominent Russian military blogger criticized a $2,400 jammer saying its poor cooling system and weak antenna made it virtually useless, with jamming capabilities reduced by 90% because the antenna was pointed up, as FPV drones often attack from the side. The blogger also noted that a Telegram channel had sold the defective product to Russian soldiers, leading to multiple deaths. Russia also has other ineffective jammers. In April, Russian forces abandoned a T-72B3M tank with a jammer after it was attacked by a Ukrainian drone. The tank, called the Tsar EW, was a major step forward in anti-drone defenses. Despite initial concerns, Ukrainian forces captured the tank in a daring operation. The Russians had left the battery uncharged, and Ukrainian soldiers had to risk Russian artillery fire to move the tank back a mile to inspect it. Face the challenge. After a successful but risky operation, Ukrainian drone pilots discovered that Russian jammers, equipped with standard factory antennas, were poorly placed and largely ineffective against FPV drones. This allowed Ukraine, backed by efficient production and superior jamming technology, to lead in drone warfare. However, the greatest threats to Ukrainian drone pilots are not jammers, but artillery and enemy drones. To survive, pilots frequently move between bunkers and trenches, often operating close to the front line, where FPV drones can't keep them entirely out of danger. Artillery bombardments and enemy fire are constant risks, demanding intense focus even amidst chaos. Drone operators work exhausting shifts starting before dawn and ending after sunset, with minimal rest. One operator mentioned that 2 hours of sleep is a rare luxury, as they must stay alert to provide instant support for infantry or strike targets. Each mission typically involves 40 drones, but with a success rate of less than 50%, multiple attempts are often required to achieve objectives. Top pilots like Darwin manage a 50% success rate, an impressive figure in these conditions. Missions sometimes involve opportunistic strikes, with pilots like Darwin preferring night operations. Thermal imaging and the cover of darkness make enemy vehicles more visible and drones harder to detect. However, the psychological toll is heavy. Pilots witness their targets up close, sometimes even observing their enemies' final expressions. While some, like Darwin, struggle with these images, others, such as Timur, stay motivated by the mission to protect Ukraine. Despite physical and emotional challenges, the pilots persevere. Darwin, for instance, returned to work just a week after suffering a concussion from a nearby explosion. Their resilience underscores their critical role in Ukraine's ongoing conflict, driven by a determination to secure victory. War drone future. Darwin said the adaptable survived, not the strongest. Drone pilots like him have proven this wartime development principle. Although Russia has more people, firepower, and money than Ukraine, Ukraine has reacted with a more fluid command structure, greater information, and drones as the most cost-effective weapon. Adaptation continues. Artificial intelligence will make drone warfare more lethal and cost-effective. Experienced pilots said on tape that AI has helped their drones spot moving targets and even underground dwellers using body heat. AI technology that lets drones attack targets is also being developed. Currently, this technology is too expensive for mainstream usage, but both sides are competing to produce cheaper versions. Drone pilots may soon be able to sleep while their weapons work. Ukrainian drones are also killing more. Ukrainian armor-piercing ammo is a variant of EFP rounds. Drones carry projectiles that are effective against armored personnel carriers, infantry combat vehicles, and self-propelled artillery. EFP rounds have a longer range than other shaped charges, but are not powerful enough to destroy tanks. These bullets can be fired by FPV drones distant from targets. After zigzagging through coping cages or protective netting, they hit the target. In December, Fedorov, who discussed anti-drone fortifications, wrote that FPV drones can outperform artillery. Ukraine's late 2023, early 2024 shell deficit hurt its battlefield performance. Russia produces shells 3 times faster than Ukraine's allies at a quarter of the cost, even as Ukraine gets more ammo. Ukraine gained an unexpected tactical advantage over a larger opponent using drones. Think drones are powerful in modern warfare? Comment below. Please like and subscribe to the channel to avoid missing future content.